Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast Simply Being with Ajay Chaudhary. And this podcast is powered by Niwwrd. Niwwrd is a design media brand that focuses on capturing the human side of design and really find out the special stories that make designers human. Also at Niwwrd, what we try to do is we try to find out the design trends and kind of forecast the future. What we believe design trends are nothing but the hidden desires of the people that are yet to be discovered by us. So today's journey is going to be really special because we have a special guest here at the podcast, Mr. Patrice, who is the founder of TheArsenale. Hi, Patrice. Nice to have you here on the podcast.
Nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, I mean, Patrice, we had been, following up with the Arsenal project for quite some time, and we felt that, the kind of vision that you bring and the kind of disruption that you want to bring in the space of future mobility is something, is required perhaps in the day and age where there's a lot of accessibility to the stuff that people have. And that's the reason why we thought that you're the man who can talk about the future, talk about, what's going to come. That's what really interests us.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. With pleasure.
Yeah. Just to start with the first question, of course, we would love to know your backstory. What makes you the person that you are, your superpowers, and of course, about the origin story of TheArsenale.
Yeah.
I know there's an exciting story behind the name and everything. So please.
Yeah, there is always an exciting stories behind every human creation, and I'm really happy to be able to share today with your community. So I'm 45 years old. I'm French, as you can recognize with my French accents. I have spent all my life trying to be an innovative guy. We are on Earth for more or less 80 years. So I think it's really important as a human being to bring something to the table and to be a good person, to be a creative person, and to try to be the best version of yourself. When I was 18, I was passionate about media and magazine. It was a long time ago. It was 25 years ago. We did not have social media. We did not have internet. And the only way to get the information was television. But as you know, the revolution will not be televised, and the television was not that good at that time. It was really popular. So I developed a passion for magazine and media, and I was literally chasing the magazine all around the world, magazine about design, cars, planes, yachts, a lot of different stuff. And I was collecting magazine when I was 18. In my room of kids, I was having more about 400 magazine difference. And so I decided to start my business by making a magazine myself. I started my first magazine when I was 18 in France. It was called Blast. It was a lifestyle magazine for young people. I did that for 6 years with a lot of success because it was a monthly magazine. It was a pretty big thing. And then when I was 22, 23, I co-published, I co-invented a magazine called Intersection. And it was really a big success. We opened the magazine Intersection was about mobility, not just about cars. I usually talk about mobility because it's a whole ensemble. I think it's more interesting to talk about mobility than just cars. Mobility is the way you move and with machines. And humans have always been extremely interested about that. You have great inventors, great travelers like Marco Polo, Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus. They were making boats to travel the world. And Intersection was also the crossroads, the intersection between the lifestyle and the mobility. And it's also really interesting to talk about this intersection of lifestyle because in the mobility you have a lot of lifestyle. You have the technology, you have the motion, but you have also a sense of architecture, design, music, fashion. So these elements together are really, really interesting. And the magazine really became a big success because we decided from day one to never publish any image that we did not produce ourselves. It's really important to say that because that's what made our success. We were not lazy. Now, a kid, when you say, hey, can you create something? He take his phone, he take Instagram, he push on a button, and he make content. 20 years ago, when you were making a story with a concept car or a car, you were involving 20 people, stylist, art director, photographer, director, etc., etc. So it was a big job. And during 20 years, because I was publisher of the magazine for 20 years, we always been really, really hard with ourselves, accurate to produce the best content. And during 20 years, we opened a lot of different franchises. We opened the magazine in France, UK, Belgium, Switzerland, US, Japan, China. And the concept was so strong that it became a hit. Karl Lagerfeld, the ex, he died a few years ago, but he was kind of a mentor for me. I met him one day and he told me that I was making the Vogue of automotive. Vogue is the best fashion magazine, and getting that compliment from that guy was really an achievement for me. And as I was doing so many good contents about concept cars, and I was shooting literally every single concept car going on the market, I was doing the content production, that some brands started to contact me to do contents for them. So I created an agency called L'Écurie that I piloted for 15 years, and I organized the launch of around 120 cars. So I worked for Renault, Nissan, Infiniti, Maserati. I'm not going to give all the names because I have worked for every single company from the market. And for them, I was producing PR content, images, movies, events, strategy, PR, a lot of different activities. And I became one of the biggest specialists for automotive culture. I talk a lot about culture. It's really important for me. I think culture is what you get in your mind, and it's much more important than having money. I mean, for me, the money is the culture. So I was really developing this, what I call car culture, the culture around the cars, and what federates these passionate people, because you have a lot of different passion, a lot of different trends in the car culture. So I became a specialist of that, and brands were calling me and say, hey, Pat, we are launching the new Renault Clio, which is not really sexy, which is not really appealing. What can you bring to the table to make it more cool? Because the car industry is not cool, now it's better because you have a lot of electric projects, you have a lot of design projects, but for a lot of years, it was not that cool to sell and drive a car. So they were calling me to try to bring some lifestyle, some spice, some sexiness, some cool ideas. And during my career, during 20 years, I have done more than 100 projects, and every project was really like mind-blowing. In 2016, 2017, I discovered that a new movement was coming on the market in my industry. A lot of new guys became builders. Before they were designers, so they were making design and they were publishing their image on social media. They were trying to get an exposure, but it was that. But Elon Musk, that I met a few times, he shown the way to a lot of new engineers, a lot of new builders, and I discovered that a lot of new brands were coming on the market. Not just brands of cars, but brands of submarines, of planes, of eVTOL, of bicycles, motorcycles. And I told myself, wow, the industry is really changing, and I want to play a bigger role in that industry. I want to become an ambassador. I want to help these new young companies, and I think it's time for me to change from a media agency to more business operators, but in a new way. I didn't want to open a normal car store, and I was looking for a name. I wanted a strong name, something that give you a direct legitimacy, something that give reference to an historical subject. And I was with my wife in Venezia. I love architecture, I love design, I love history, I love to walk and spend time in vintage and ancient spaces. And in Venezia, there is a space called TheArsenale, which is one of the most ancient shipyards in the world. in the 16th century, Venezia in Italy was the central points of the creation of the boats. All the big travelers, they were going to Venezia to build their boats because the Venetians were the best architects of boats. And the boats were leaving Venezia, leaving the Arsenal to conquer the world. The name was amazing for me because it was a direct explanation of my concept. So I put THE before, I put a .com, I deposit the name, and I started to onboard brands. And it has been a direct success because based on my experience, I knew how to talk to these guys. I knew what were their strengths and their weakness, and I knew what they needed. So in less than a year, we onboarded around 60 brands. We started to communicate. We had a lot of press, and it was a marketplace for independent builders. And it's how I started the project.